Have you ever imagined a place on Earth so different that it seems to belong to another planet? A place where trees bleed, creatures have evolved in unique ways, and the inhabitants speak a language that no one else in the world understands? This place exists, and its name is Socotra. But why is this island so enigmatic? What makes it so special that it is considered one of the most surreal landscapes on the planet? In today's video from World No Filter, we will embark on a journey to this hidden gem in the Indian Ocean, exploring its mysteries, its breathtaking landscapes, and the fascinating culture of its people. Get ready, because what you're about to see will challenge everything you know about the world. Want to be part of a journey full of discoveries, fun, and content that will surprise you? Subscribe to our channel by clicking here and don't miss any more videos. Imagine a place so isolated that its flora and fauna have evolved in a completely distinct way from the rest of the world. This is the case with Socotra, a remote island where biodiversity has developed without external interference for millennia. Geographically separated from major continents for millions of years, Socotra has become a natural refuge where rare species have flourished and adapted to a harsh environment, creating a true paradise for scientists and explorers. The island's vegetation defies traditional notions of tropical ecosystems. One of the most fascinating examples is the cucumber tree, Dendrocysseos socotranus, which grows with a thick, swollen trunk capable of storing water to survive prolonged droughts. Another iconic plant is the desert rose, Adenium obesum socotranum, which has a thick base to withstand the arid soil and vibrant pink flowers that bloom in stark contrast to the rocky landscape. In addition to its vegetation, Socotra's fauna is equally unique. The island is home to an impressive diversity of reptiles, including lizards and snakes found nowhere else. One standout is the Socotra chameleon, Cameleo monicus, a rare and little-studied species that uses its camouflage abilities to protect itself from predators and extreme weather conditions. The island's inhabitants, known as Socotris, have developed a distinct and self-sufficient culture deeply connected to their environment. Fishing and herding are essential for their subsistence, and many still live in small villages, preserving ancestral traditions. The Socotri language, which belongs to the Semitic language group, has no traditional written form and is passed down orally from generation to generation. This linguistic uniqueness makes Socotra not only a natural sanctuary but also a reservoir of human culture and history. In addition to the natural barriers imposed by the oceans and intense winds, political and economic factors have contributed to keeping Socotra relatively isolated from the modern world. For centuries, trade and navigation were limited due to turbulent waters and seasonal monsoons that made it difficult for ships to approach. Today, although more accessible, the island remains one of the least explored places on the planet, reinforcing its status as a world apart. Because it is so preserved and unexplored, Socotra has become a destination of interest for researchers and adventurers seeking to understand how isolated ecosystems can offer clues about the evolution of life on Earth. Some scientists consider the island a true, living archive of biodiversity, a testament to how nature can adapt and thrive in adverse conditions. Given all these peculiarities, it is clear that Socotra is not just a piece of land in the middle of the ocean, but rather a natural museum under open skies, where every twisted tree, every living creature, and every cultural tradition tells a story of resilience, adaptation, and mystery. If there is a place in the world that deserves to be called unique, that place is Socotra. Located about 380 kilometers south of Yemen and 240 kilometers from Africa, Socotra is the largest island in an archipelago of 4 islands and 2 rocky islets. Its biodiversity is so unique that the island is often compared to the Galapagos Islands. Approximately 37% of its plants, 90% of its reptiles, and 95% of its land mollusks are found nowhere else in the world. What makes this place even more impressive is the isolation of its population. Socotra is a true geological and natural spectacle, a land where time and evolution have sculpted landscapes that seem to have come from a distant planet. Its rugged terrain, wind, and sea-carved rock formations, and unique vegetation make the island often described as an alien landscape in the heart of the Indian Ocean. What is most striking upon arriving in Socotra are its imposing mountains, which rise abruptly from sea level. The Hajar mountain range, with peaks exceeding 1,500 meters in altitude, dominates the island's central landscape. These rock formations, sculpted over millennia, create a striking contrast with the vast arid plains that stretch around them. Composed of limestone and granite, these mountains feature dramatic cliffs that have been shaped over centuries by the force of winds and occasional rains. Descending from the mountains toward the coast, the scenery changes dramatically. Socotra's beaches are truly untouched refuges, with white sand and vibrant turquoise waters. Detwa Lagoon, for example, is one of the island's most fascinating spots, known for its natural pools and the surreal reflection of the sky on its calm waters. Meanwhile, Arher Beach, in the northeast of the island, is surrounded by massive dunes that rise beside limestone cliffs, creating an almost surreal landscape. During sunset, the golden light over the dunes gives the place an even more magical atmosphere. In addition to its beaches, Socotra is known for its spectacular caves, which hold geological and historical secrets. Hawk Cave, one of the island's most famous, is an underground tunnel stretching over 3 kilometers, filled with stalactites and stalagmites carved by moisture over the centuries. Inscriptions and artifacts found inside indicate that the cave once served as shelter for ancient civilizations, adding a layer of mystery to its natural grandeur. But perhaps the most iconic element of Socotra's landscape is its peculiar vegetation. The dragon's blood tree, Dracaena cinnabari, is one of the island's main visual attractions, with its umbrella-shaped canopy and a red resin that gives it a mystical aura. This tree, found only in Socotra, is a perfect example of the extreme adaptation of the local flora to arid conditions. Another highlight is the cucumber tree, which stores water in its swollen trunk, allowing it to survive long dry seasons. The island's climate also plays a crucial role in shaping its landscape. Intense seasonal winds, especially between June and September, turn some regions into nearly inhospitable areas, making navigation and access to certain points difficult. This climatic phenomenon has helped keep Socotra isolated for centuries, contributing to the preservation of its biodiversity and untouched natural landscapes. Every corner of the island offers a new breathtaking scene. Walking through Socotra is like traveling to a parallel reality, where time seems to have stood still and nature follows its own rhythm. Whether exploring its rugged mountains, relaxing on its white sand beaches, or venturing into its mysterious caves, the prevailing feeling is one of being in a world that few have had the privilege to experience. Over the centuries, sailors and explorers have shared intriguing stories about Socotra, describing it as a place shrouded in mystery and magic. Among the most fascinating myths surrounding the island is the tale of the sea enchantresses, women who, according to oral tradition, possess the power to seduce sailors with their hypnotic voices, luring them to Socotra's isolated shores, where they would vanish without a trace. Although this legend has a fantastical tone, many historians believe it may have originated from the way the island's ancient inhabitants received visitors. Socotra's population remained isolated from the outside world for centuries, and their hospitality sparked both curiosity and unease among travelers who arrived there. It is possible that sailors, unfamiliar with local customs and unable to understand the Socotri language, interpreted friendly gestures and traditional chants as supernatural phenomena. The island's mythology may also be linked to the presence of ancient priestesses and healers who, according to records, played spiritual and medicinal roles in Socotri society. These women, who possessed extensive knowledge of herbs and healing practices, were highly respected and, in some cases, feared for their wisdom. To outsiders, their rituals might have seemed like acts of sorcery, reinforcing the myth that mysterious women held sway over those who approached the island. Another aspect that may have fueled this legend is Socotra's geography itself. The island is surrounded by treacherous seas, with sharp reefs and strong currents that made navigation extremely dangerous. Many ships wrecked while attempting to approach the coast, and this may have led surviving sailors to report that something inexplicable had drawn them to their doom. Thus, the myth of the sea enchantresses could be an attempt to explain tragedies that occurred in those unpredictable waters. Additionally, Socotra's oral culture has preserved stories describing mystical encounters between humans and sea entities. In some versions of the legend, the enchantresses are not ordinary women but supernatural beings who dwell among the island's coral reefs and coastal caves. These creatures, half human and half ocean spirits, are described as guardians of Socotra, protecting it from invaders and punishing those who attempt to exploit its riches without respect. Even today, local fishermen avoid certain areas of the island at nightfall, claiming that Socotra's seas hold their own secrets and that there are places where the winds whisper ancient tales to those who know how to listen. These accounts, combined with the island's rich folklore, ensure that the legend of the sea enchantresses continues to captivate the popular imagination and attract those seeking the unexplained. Whether born from local culture, the result of encounters with isolated peoples, or simply a way to make sense of natural phenomena and maritime tragedies, the legend of the sea enchantresses reinforces Socotra's enigmatic character. This is one of those places where the line between reality and fantasy dissolves, allowing ancient stories to continue echoing in the ocean's waves. Living in Socotra is a true test of resilience. Despite the island's unique beauty, its environment presents significant challenges for its inhabitants. Geographic isolation, extreme weather, and the lack of modern infrastructure make daily life an experience that demands adaptation and ingenuity. Socotra's climate is harsh, characterized by high temperatures and intense seasonal winds. During the monsoon season, between June and September, powerful gusts sweep across the island, making navigation dangerous and, in many cases, preventing the arrival of supplies. This seasonal isolation forces the local population to plan their subsistence in advance, stockpiling food and securing essential resources. The scarcity of potable water is another challenge that defines the Socotri way of life. Rainfall is rare, and most of the available water comes from limited underground wells and natural springs. To cope with this reality, residents have developed traditional techniques for storing and conserving water, becoming experts at surviving in an arid environment. Sustainable resource use is a necessity, ensuring that the community can continue to inhabit the island without degrading its fragile ecosystems. Socotra's infrastructure is highly limited. There are few paved roads, and most travel is done in vehicles adapted to rugged terrain. Electricity, when available, comes primarily from diesel generators, and internet access is scarce. Many inhabitants go without communication with the outside world for long periods, further reinforcing the sense of isolation. The island's economy is based on fishing, herding, and the artisanal production of goods such as incense and honey, the latter of which is highly valued for its therapeutic properties. Emerging tourism has become an economic opportunity for some families, but the difficulty of accessing the island and the need to preserve its ecosystem limit its growth. Still, visitors willing to face logistical challenges are rewarded with a unique and authentic experience. Socotri society maintains customs and traditions that have withstood the test of time. Polygamy, permitted under Islamic law, is still practiced, though it is becoming less common due to economic difficulties. The oral transmission of knowledge and stories remains fundamental in preserving the cultural identity of the island's people. Community festivals and religious celebrations are important moments for reinforcing social bonds and keeping ancestral traditions alive. Despite the challenges, the Socotris take pride in their heritage and way of life. For them, living in Socotra means being in harmony with nature and learning to respect its limits. The island not only preserves unparalleled biodiversity but also maintains a lifestyle that has changed little over the centuries. The isolation, which could be seen as an obstacle, has become an essential part of Socotra's identity, protecting its culture and uniqueness. Visiting Socotra is a unique experience, but it requires careful planning. As one of the most isolated places in the world, the island has limited accessibility, strict regulations for tourists, and basic infrastructure that demands travelers be prepared for logistical challenges. The most direct way to reach Socotra is through charter flights departing from the United Arab Emirates, specifically Abu Dhabi. These flights are operated by specialized tourism agencies and typically occur once a week. Due to high demand and limited availability, it is advisable to book several months in advance. Socotra's airport, located near the capital Hadabo, is small and receives few international flights, further emphasizing the need for early planning. To enter the island, it is mandatory to obtain an entry visa, which must be applied for through an authorized agency. Since Yemen, the country to which Socotra belongs, faces political instability, the visa process can be time-consuming and subject to sudden changes. Therefore, it is essential to maintain frequent contact with the responsible agency and check the latest entry requirements for the territory. Accommodation in Socotra is limited to a few simple guesthouses and eco-camps. There are no large hotels or resorts, and visitors should be prepared for modest accommodations with basic infrastructure. For those seeking a more authentic experience, organized campsites run by local guides are an excellent option, allowing for closer contact with nature and the island's traditions. Transportation within Socotra also presents challenges. With few paved roads, most travel is done in 4x4 vehicles driven by local guides. Vehicle rentals typically include a driver guide, as navigating the island without prior knowledge can be difficult due to the lack of signage and rugged geography. Food on the island is based on local products, such as fresh fish, rice, and dates. However, since many items need to be imported, The variety of food can be limited, and prices may be relatively high. Visitors are advised to bring dried foods and basic supplies, especially if they plan to camp or explore more remote areas. Another important consideration is communication. Internet and telephone services are extremely limited in Socotra. Only a few areas have cell phone signal, and internet access is restricted to a handful of locations. Therefore, visitors should be prepared to disconnect from the digital world during their stay. Despite these logistical challenges, visiting Socotra is an unforgettable experience. The island's isolation has helped preserve its unique biodiversity and distinct culture. For those seeking adventure, direct contact with nature, and the opportunity to explore one of the planet's last untouched territories, Socotra offers a journey that few have had the privilege to experience. The effort to get there is richly rewarded by the grandeur of its landscapes and the warmth of its people. Socotra is not just a remote destination, it is one of Earth's last wild refuges, where nature follows its course without the typical interference of the modern world. This unique island, isolated for millions of years, preserves a virtually untouched ecosystem, a culture that has withstood the test of time, and a landscape so stunning that it seems to have emerged from a surrealist painting. The island's isolation, which long hindered its exploration, has been a key factor in its conservation. Unlike other places deeply impacted by mass tourism and unchecked development, Socotra has remained a true ecological sanctuary. Its unique biodiversity, with species found nowhere else, continues to be a subject of study for scientists and biologists seeking to understand the evolution of life in extreme environments. The importance of Socotra goes beyond its exotic beauty. It represents a living example of what Earth might have been like before modern human influence. In a world where environmental destruction is rapidly advancing, the island stands as a reminder of the importance of preservation. Protecting Socotra is not only the responsibility of its inhabitants and local authorities, but also of all of us who value the planet's natural wealth. However, the island faces challenges. The growing curiosity of travelers for untouched destinations has led to an increase in tourism, and although it is still controlled, there is a risk that the infrastructure needed to accommodate visitors could negatively impact the island's fragile ecosystem. Additionally, climate change and political instability in Yemen could threaten the tranquility of this isolated paradise. For those privileged enough to visit Socotra, the experience is transformative. Unlike any other destination, the island offers a pure and authentic connection with nature, free from the distractions of the modern world. Walking through its unexplored landscapes, diving into its crystal-clear waters, and experiencing the hospitality of its people are experiences that leave a profound mark on any traveler. What makes Socotra so special is not just its unique biodiversity or surreal landscapes, but the feeling of being in a place where time seems to have stood still. The island does not offer luxury or traditional comfort, but rather a journey to the essence of the planet, where harmony between humans and nature is still possible. Now we want to know, what surprised you most about Socotra? Would you dare to explore this remote place? Leave your comment and help World No Filter continue bringing unique content like this. We hope this journey through the mysteries of the fascinating island of Socotra has been as exciting for you as it was for us. Considering this and the effort it takes to create these videos, we would love it if you could leave us a like and your comment. It's the best way to help us continue bringing you the best content every week. If you enjoyed this video and haven't subscribed yet, don't wait any longer. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss the fascinating videos we produce every week, like this one you can watch now to discover one of the most captivating places on the planet. Don't miss this opportunity and explore the wonders that this and many other places have to offer.